Death Blow. Death Blow. Death Blow. Death Blow. Okay, this is Quentin Landelt from Adelon, and you are listening to Death Blow Podcast.
Welcome to a new episode of Death Blow Podcast. Subscribe, like and share my videos and click on the bell to don't miss the new ones. Instagram, Facebook and TikTok for new videos, photos and updates. Spotify and Apple Podcast for the audio version. For this episode, I had the pleasure to have interviewed a band called Adelon from Switzerland. Their style is technical death metal and they have an incredible sound that you have to listen to. If you're curious, stay tuned and I will leave you with the rest of the interview. This is me, Dorkel. I present myself. I am the admin of Death Blow Podcast and I'm very, very honored that you are here today for this interview. So first of all, present yourself and just tell me what you're doing at the moment with your band, which is Adelon. What can you tell me about?
Okay, well, first of all, thanks for having me. My name is Quentin. I'm the guitar player and composer in Adelon. Currently, we just released an EP, our first EP called Resurgence. It's an independent release. We are promoting it right now. We're not doing much of live stuff, but we are looking for drummers, so that's it for now, I guess.
So you founded this band in 2022. How did it happen, the meeting with other bandmates, and what can you tell about this band? Well,
Adelon is kind of a result of a long friendship I have with the singer, Pierrick. Because we've known each other for maybe 10 years now, and we've been doing music, just the two of us, just to mess around for a long time now. And in 2021, we were like, okay, maybe let's do something real with this band now. And his brother, Titouan, is the bass player, so it was a quick find. And we just, we're from Switzerland. It's a small scene, obviously, so pretty quickly the musicians here. So we just, we knew some friends who played drums, we knew another guitar player, and we started like this. And it was our first real band, so we kind of discovered how things worked together.
So you come from Lausanne, in particular, in Switzerland. How is the scene there? You were telling something about the scene.
Well, the scene, there's like very great band from Sweden. In Lausanne, there's Anachronism. Maybe you've heard of this, like it's dissonant death metal that they're big now. But the scene in Switzerland is not that active. If you look at maybe France or Germany, stuff like this, it's a bit more active. Switzerland is a bit slow. There's not much of like in our genre, like technical progressive death metal. There's not much band. So when we play, sometimes we play with a kind of other kind of genre of metal, like maybe grindcore. We played even like black or stuff like this, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting how you started and the evolution, because I never heard so many bands that come from Switzerland except Celtic Frost, for example, in death metal scene. So if you are familiar with them, are you familiar with Celtic Frost, for example?
A little bit, because they are from Switzerland. They are like the big one from Switzerland, but I'm not particularly, I've never listened a lot to them, to be honest. There's another band that was kind of big, there's Zeal and Ardor, that is big now. Maybe you've heard of it?
No, never heard this band.
Okay. Well, they're headlining a lot of shows now, but in the world, but they're from another town in Zurich, which is the biggest city in Switzerland.
Yeah, sure, Zurich.
Yeah.
Before your first EP, did you record some demos, some recordings, rehearsals?
Yeah, well, before the EP, we released two like individual singles. There was one in 2022 that we did like DIY. We recorded everything in my room. We programmed the drums and we sent it to someone on Fiverr to mix and master it. Mm-hmm. Because we didn't know how to upload the music on like Spotify and stuff like that, and we were okay, maybe let's try with one song, and that's what we did. And 1 year later, we recorded in a studio this time another single that we released, and same thing. It was to try out, just because for like beginner band, it's a big. It involves a lot of work to go in a studio and record like even 4 songs can be a lot for a new band, and we wanted to go slow and just see, okay, because it costs obviously money. We don't have a label, so yeah, we tried like this just to test the water, I guess.
Adelon, your band reminds me of the sounds of Dying Fetus and of course Gojira. Is it true?
Well, for Gojira, yes, obviously we love this band. With Pierrick, we've seen them a lot of time, and it's something that we always look up to, that kind of band. Dying Fetus it's funny because it's a band that I didn't really listen before their latest album, which I cannot remember the name, but I listened a lot to the latest one because it sounds so good. But it was never something that I really was into before.
Right now, let's talk about your first EP entitled Resurgence. For this release, how long did it take to write this album?
It took, some of the songs, like the first two were done. They were done maybe like 3 years ago. Because there were songs that we wrote with Pierrick, and then we thought, okay, maybe we could add them to the band. And the last 2 songs were written in I think 2022 as well, something like this. And the thing, it's not, I don't know how things work with other bands, but when we decided to do the EP, the songs were like 90% done, and a year in advance they were like done. And when we sent it, like the pre-pros and demos to Alex Sedin, we produced the EP. He was like, okay, maybe you can change this here for dynamics, you can add something there. And that was like the last touch, I guess, that was done to the songs. So you could say it took like 3 years to write a 4-track EP, but it was like composition that we did, and then we never touched them again, and we were like, okay, they're done, and I guess that's it, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. Another question was about the sound quality of the whole production, because you said that this guy that helped you, and so who helped you to record this? Of course, it was Alex Sedin. You were talking about this guy before.
Yeah. Well, Alex is a good friend from Paris, but he's from Ukraine, I think. First, he's a metal producer, mix engineer, mastering, and he's incredible. Like he's done like the other band I talked about earlier, Anachronism. That's because I'm friend with some of the members of Anachronism, and they told me, oh, okay, there's this guy in Paris that's really cool, really like invested in the music, and I got in contact with him, and he helped like a ton with the recording, because I did the recording at home this time as well. And he would tell me like, okay, maybe like we talked about a lot about the direction of the sound, like what bands, what type of sound, things that I didn't really knew before. Like everybody knows like 2 bands can sound vastly different, but the why was a part that I learned a lot with him. and it was great. He's so invested in the band that he works with. It's a pleasure from the start to work with that guy.
Reading the lyrics of this EP, I noticed darkness and finding the light inside, diving deep into emptiness, and you have written an important phrase in the song Cycles. The sun will rise, ending the suffering. Is it a form of mental trip inside your consciousness?
Yeah, well, this song in particular is like for me, it is the lyrical vibe of the EP. For me, it's like I'm not a big like lyric writer or anything, but I like to read, and I read like maybe some more philosophical stuff by Jung and stuff like this, and the shadow of going against the shadow and working through that kind of stuff is something that always spoke to me, and finding the light, which is kind of kitsch, I would say, is for me it's true. Like going in the like darkness realm and trying to solve things to get better. It's really important to me, at least I think.
And even for every one of us, it's important to defeat the darkness. So, in a way, especially in mind. Because if you're too much depressed or lonely, it's good to find a way to react. So music, for example, is a good way to react against these difficulties of this world, this society that push sometimes yourself to the limit,
Yeah, and most of the I like songs when they're not like too obvious. I'm not like a poet or anything, but I like to use maybe like words that I wouldn't use when I speak to someone, because I would sound weird. But I like to have a bit of mystery in the songs, but still having like you said, finding meaning. If you can find meaning in it, it's amazing for me. And the funny thing is, like, I think obviously music is some type of communication with the audience. Like when you play, the audience react, and then it impacts me. But it's funny because the song, the third song on the EP called Crimson Luminescence, was written, the lyrics by Pierrick. And it's funny because it talks about being stuck in maybe work, in a difficult relationship and stuff like this, but in a very poetic way. And it's funny because we didn't talk a lot about that kind of stuff before, and when I saw the lyrics, I was like, okay, you're going through this. Okay, well, let's talk about this a bit, and it opened like new way of talking to each other, I think, which is funny.
Yeah, Resurgence EP was released last June 21st. How much time did you work in the studio with Alex Sadding and the other guys?
It was quick because we did this at home. Everything was done at home. I think because I recorded, it took me maybe for the 4 songs, maybe I guess 4 days, 5 days to record the guitar, and then the bass was done in maybe 1 or 2 days. The vocals as well, and the program drums. I don't know exactly because the old drummer Robin, he did it at home. So I guess you could say it was recorded in a period of maybe a bit more than a week, 2 weeks, something like this. And then with Alex, we had some back and forth with the mix, and it took maybe a month for him to work over it.
Resurgence cover art contains a strong red color. What does it represent, and who designed it? Well,
I did the cover art. I used Midjourney for it mostly. The thing is, I used the lyrics from Pierrick as prompt for the image, and then I prompted a lot. And when I found the one that spoke to me, like, I went, okay, let's go in Photoshop and change a bit. And well, like we said before, like the red is tension for me. Like it's it's a very abstract image. Let's be honest. But for me, what it means is it's like I will pronounce it very bad. It's like a knot of flesh. Like someone feeling angry will feel like this in this body, and for me it was like something like flesh, like a real flesh knot, I guess. So like in a vacuum of in space, it's pretty spacey, but yeah, that's what it meant to me, like in this like ethereal like world.
Yeah, the guitar sound in this EP are very well produced, like we said, but not only. Even the keyboard in the background is very good. Do you agree?
Yes, I would agree. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alex did an amazing job with it. It's something that was a lot of synth and keyboard were not on the demos, and we added them after that. We talked with him, and it's funny because now I use a lot more synth in the songs that I wrote than I did before, and I like it. I like that kind of proggy element in the music.
Yeah, I really like the keyboard as an instrument because you can apply to many structures in the music. I'm a musician myself and I am a keyboardist, so I perfectly understand how to use a keyboard in certain songs as a background and how to not use very much, because too much symphony becomes too much classical music then the bass, So it's not... could even be boring in a longer term, the track, for example. So it's very important, the keyboard, how to use it. Do you agree?
Yeah, because I feel like you could sound like Symphony X if you use it too much and it's not the direction that we want. We like maybe it's not a bad thing, but we like the synth as a texture most of the time, just to have something in the background to give an atmosphere. There's like, if you listen like to Opeth and Blackwater Park, that kind of stuff, there's tons of like weird textures in the background, and I like to get immersed in an album and an EP.
So then, are you guys working for the new album, or are you playing live in the meantime?
Yeah, well, now I am in the process of writing new material. We hope to do an album next, and we are going to do one. I pretty think so. We are not doing lives for some times because we changed the drummer. We are auditioning a new one soon, so we couldn't do dates. We had to cancel some, which it's kind of a bummer because we do all of this to play live. So we are kind of stuck in a position that we cannot play live. But I'm writing a lot and I'm producing also all those songs, and it leaves me time to do this, so it's not that bad.
And how did you start to play music, and why?
I started, well, my parents are, I wouldn't say like they it's not that they are not musicians. They sing in a choir in Switzerland, like a classical choir, like they sung like Mozart and all of Bach and stuff like this. And we always had music at home. The classic, we had trips with the car, and there was always music. And they knew that they could see that I liked music, so they enrolled me in a theory class when I was maybe 6 or 7, and then I took piano from this till 11. And I took a break from music because I didn't really care about piano like when I was young. And I had a friend when I was maybe 13, 14, who was playing guitar, and it's I remember this day because it's like it's kind of the cliche story, but I saw him at home at his home playing like Enter Sandman on his guitar, and I was like, oh wow, that's so close to the real songs, but if I could listen now, I wouldn't say that, I think, but I remember like it struck a chord in me, like the sound of the guitar, the way it looked. It opened like my eyes, like, oh yes, I want to do this. And then it went from there, and I took guitar lesson, and I didn't stop. And I just finished a bachelor in music.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was my goal since I started like to do music school, even though I didn't know what it meant at the time. And I'm glad I did, because it brought me a lot. I couldn't explain why I'm doing this, but I just know that I'm doing it and I like it.
Yeah, but then to play technical death metal is very important, the tempo. So to know every single aspect of the music, it could be a good help. So I really understand that.
Yeah, it's not like the most obviously not the most popular music, but I can take elements from. I think that I can take elements from a lot of different like styles. Even like obviously you will listen to Necrophagist and you heard like you can hear like the classical influence. You listen to Cynic, you have the jazz, and I think that's why I love death metal, because I really think that you can add nearly everything in it, and it will still sound pretty fucking rad.
What the fans can expect from your band in the future?
Well, we are going to tour more for sure. So we obviously want to go out of Switzerland and play in the neighboring countries. We want to also be a lot more present on the social media, internet, and like obviously record like playthrough, and even like if people are interested in Q&As and stuff like that. I mean, we don't have like that many fans now. We are starting band, so for the future, like new music, obviously, more content and more live show would make me very happy.
Totally agree. We definitely need more music in the future.
Yes.
What are your main sources of inspiration in writing an album?
Well, for the EP, there wasn't really like that's something that I heard from other review and stuff like this that I didn't really cared about before. Was there's not a real an album is it's like a book, you know, like it's all the songs are the kind of the same shared universe, and I feel like the EP that we released, it sounds like us as a band, but it sounds like maybe 4 different musical ideas. And for me, like my inspiration when you listen to a band like obviously Gojira, and you listen like to The Way of All Flesh, and all the songs are like intertwined with those kind of weird layers with things in between the songs, and it's really like put the album together. That's something that I really look up to, and I really want to try to do next time. Just have a journey that people can be immersed in it. Even it's not that big, but you listen to like I said, Blackwater Park as well is just an immersive, like atmospheric journey. Even though it's death metal, progressive death metal, if you like, but. Yeah, having a mood for an entire album is a pretty good goal, I think.
Do you have hobbies except music or some activity?
Currently, I'm playing a lot of Elden Ring, maybe a bit too much.
No problem. Don't feel sorry.
I love this company From Software. It's funny because I really feel like they. The universe that they create all the time, it's really like struck a chord with me, and a lot of people too, and it inspired me to write music afterward. I was joking the other day with the band that we could do a concept album around Elden Ring, but it's maybe a bit too soon to do this. But other than video games, I hang out with friends. I like to go out, and I don't have like real activities. I do a bit of sport, but mostly video games otherwise.
Yeah, what is your best advice you received to play music, and what is the worst advice?
There's one. Because I went to music school, I had a lot of advices. Like it's kind of the whole deal. They just give you advice, which is nice. And one I had last year was music is the art of patience, which is very true, because you can rush a lot of things. It could be like even practice. It could be releasing something. If you rush, if you don't take the time to do it properly, you will be not deceived. You will feel maybe bad about it. So being very patient with music, even like having something as money come back from from music. It takes time, so it takes patience. And a bad advice, I have one. It's funny because I did before I went to Bachelor School of Music, I did 2 years of preparation in another school for a musician. And someone told me when you practice, you have to make it sound as good as possible. It was. I took it maybe too seriously, and when something would sound bad, I would be maybe ashamed of myself. And then I met someone, another teacher, years later, and I told him that story. He was like, "Oh no! When you practice, if it sounds bad, that's okay. That's why you practice it." Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess I would say that kind of advice would be good or bad.
Depends how you look at it, like everything. Yeah. I was attending a music school, but it was not a real school, for music school like academy. So when I was rehearsing or I was playing live in front of a public, I was so nervous. So I cannot even think about the good stuff in the moment. My mind was so blind, was so confused. So then with practice, people told me, don't stop, just continue. Even if you just miss some notes, you just have to continue. So what can you tell me to finish this interview?
I guess for the people who will listen, thank you first of all for having me. If you guys check out our social media, that would mean the world to us. We have Instagram, YouTube, all the cats, and we will be releasing content soon. I don't know how soon, but we will be doing videos and demos and stuff like this soon. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you don't have already. And for me, I guess that's it.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure from me, Dalkel, and that's the podcast.
Yes, to me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and best wishes for your career.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that's all for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share my videos, Spotify and Apple Podcasts to listen the audio version. Deaf Blue Podcast is even on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok for more updates. I even have a website with all the informations and email where you can find in the description. See you soon, guys!